In today's show,
all of this is messy. Like, who did this? I did. Well, why didn't you do it right? And I'm like, I'm doing it by myself. And that answer didn't really come in until like 3 months in.
Just for the record, she didn't apprentice with me.
Right.
Yeah.
That was not with Chico.
That was not with Chico.
That was a different shop.
Definitely, like, I also babysat their kid in the shop.
Definitely not mine.
Not yours.
Hi, welcome back to Ink Different Tattoos podcast. I'm your co-host, Paul Anthony, and today I have Ali, Chico, and Moony with me. We are in Miami, and we are going to be talking about how to access, thrive, and survive in the tattoo industry, particularly from the female perspective. So to start, let's talk about what it was like to get into the tattoo industry. So let's get to know everybody a little bit more. So Ali, you work with Chico at
Naomi's Tattoo Garden.
Naomi's Tattoo Garden, and Moony, you are at
the original, the 152.
Awesome. The original M4L. Super cool. And you're both on Chico's Pro Team.
Yes.
Which is super great. So I've seen you both at conventions. I've seen you in the studios. Y'all doing your thing. How did you get started in the tattoo industry? Let's start with Moony.
So I was in high school around like 17, 18. Realized I wanted to do tattoos as like a career. And I looked for Chico, and it didn't work out as an apprentice with Chico's. I got sent to a school. As much as he doesn't like to admit it.
Didn't exactly go like that.
It didn't, but because I didn't end up going to the school.
She makes me look bad. It wasn't
You
like
had
that.
too many apprentices.
I had
at
too
the
many
time.
apprentices, and I said I didn't have room for them. Maybe she should look for a school type education in tattooing. I thought I was doing the right thing. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I still ended up working with you, which I'm happy about.
You want either one.
But I apprenticed in Little Havana, and then left there, worked in a different shop. The pandemic happened, so shops weren't really looking for people, and you couldn't really find work. And then I just on a limb went, okay, what if I just hit up Chico? I have his number. I can just be like, hey, I want to work for you. I have experience now. Maybe things can work out. And on the spot, he was like, yeah, I remember you.
Cool.
Come in.
Wow. Fantastic. And so now you've been on the pro team as well, because I think the first time we met was at a convention.
Yep.
So, I mean, pretty quickly learning how to tattoo, getting good at it under Chico's tutelage as well, and then pro teaming it. What's it been like to go to conventions?
Honestly, conventions are where I wanted to be at when I first got into tattooing, and it was a dream come true. And honestly, like I prefer conventions, meeting new people, getting to do work that's like not the norm at home. Because at home, depending on what area you're in, the style is different. Miami's very black and gray heavy. I'm not black and gray heavy. I like to do colorful anime, new school type drawings, very cartoony, very cutesy. That only really happens out of Miami. So getting to actually travel and get to do that is the best.
Awesome. Wonderful. And Ali, you're in Miami as well, but you're at Naomi Tattoo Garden.
Yes.
Right. So how did you get started in tattooing?
Well, back when COVID hit, I had my little drive-through graduation for high school, and I was just in a rut. I felt like I didn't know what I wanted to do. I really wanted art, but I just didn't know where to go. And I was about to start college. I started a little late because of COVID, and I found out through Chico's, and I followed what turned out to be my mentor, Nelson. And I got the apprenticeship there with Chico's, and I loved it. Ever since then, I fell in love with tattooing. It's been everything I care about. So I learned under him actually at the 152, and then I ended up going over to Naomi's Tattoo Garden to help out over there. And it's been great. Honestly, I would never trade it for anything else. I love everything that's given me the opportunity to travel, see new people, get to do it all people for a living. That's amazing to me.
Yeah.
So,
and stylistically, what are you being pulled to right now?
I feel like I have a very traditional influence in my work, but I feel like I have a very cutesy horror, almost new school kind of approach to things. So I feel like I'm still figuring out my style since I am still very new into the tattoo world. I'm still kind of trying different things out and seeing what really is going to be my final style in the end.
Cool. And your Instagram was
Bloody Alley.
Bloody Alley, right?
Yeah.
Exactly, right. So playing with that horror. in
Yeah, the
school
whole
kind of
Bloody
thing.
Mary kind of thing.
Yeah, super cool. What was your Instagram so that we make sure we get it?
Madam.Moony.
Madam.Moony. Okay, solid. So Chico, you've been mentoring and developing people for a very long time, right?
Too long, yeah.
It's been your thing, right?
Unfortunately, yeah.
It's a great thing. It's a great thing. So what was it like when these two people first started to candidate to get into your tutelage and be in your shops?
Well, I always have a draw with the artwork. Like at my shop, I really don't care if you're green, blue. I don't care what your pronouns are. It's just, I look at the artwork. And if there's one thing that catches me, I'm going to give you a shot. If nothing catches me, I'm either going to tell you need to bring more stuff, but I never try to discourage them. I've even told people, you might be better at crocheting or yo-yo or maybe frisbee than this, but don't give up. You know, because some people really, I don't know what they see when they come in, but it's not what I'm looking for. I feel bad because Moony came in with a portfolio, but it didn't have enough. And then when she came back, she was exactly the niche. I say niche, but you know, I'm old school.
Yeah.
That I was looking for as far as anime was concerned. And with Bloody Alley over here, Allison, she had a different feel. It was just different. And I thought, you know, I looked at her as like almost, her drawings were like a horror Jimmy Litwalk. It was like Jimmy Litwalk's type stuff, but all horror. There was blood and little bats all over the place. And it was like, I'm not into it, but I was like, oh, this is cool. So I'm always looking for different stuff. I'm looking for stuff that's not the same old stuff.
Cool. And right, obviously we share the same feeling about things. You don't care what someone is, how they present, all that. And what I often share with people is that we don't care if you're a 6-foot blue alien. You know, like it doesn't really matter to us. So it matters.
Sounds hot.
Yeah. If there was one, you know, wanted to become a tattoo artist. Listen, if there was a 6-foot blue alien with 3 arms, I could do, 4 arms. I could do, 2 full tattoos on 2 people at one time. That'd be great. Amazing. Because we've never cared about that. It's always been about, do you want to become a tattoo artist, right? And even though that's been our dynamic, that's your dynamic, right? I'm sure the two of you, as women in the tattoo industry have had to navigate a very different experience than most, right? So let's start here. Some of the obvious stuff. What's just so different about being a woman in tattooing? And I would also say, how about like maybe what maybe coming into it? What were some of the thoughts and concerns? And then actually being in it, is there different thoughts and concerns?
So everything that I knew before, like you don't really know, even when you're like coming in as a client, what tattoos, what the vibe is, honestly. I've had to explain to a lot of parents like how the process actually goes, what it's like. And even like my family didn't really know tattoos are this way and like the lifestyle is this way. I went into it thinking fully well that I was going to be the bottom of the barrel, like bottom feeder of an apprentice, where I had to do all the scut work, clean, run the errand, basically a glorified coffee girl type thing. That wasn't the case. My apprenticeship was very well sped run. But it didn't come with like, I still got stuck being the cleaning lady. The guys saw like, oh, well, there's a girl here to do it. She can do it. And I would come in 30 minutes before the shop opened, do all the chores, which was like scrub toilets that were gross, mop, sweep, dust, organize, and then set up my mentor. And then the guys would come in an hour after open and be like, all right, cool. Yeah, you did everything. It's not my responsibility. And then I'd get yelled at for it because something wouldn't get done. And it'd be like, oh, well, nothing is clean. And all of this is messy. Like, who did this? I did. Well, why didn't you do it right? I'm like, I'm doing it by myself. And that answer didn't really come in until like 3 months in, when he realized, oh my God, you're literally doing everything by yourself. Let me not yell at you for it, but I'm not going to apologize for yelling at you for it.
Just for the record, she didn't apprentice with me.
Right.
Yeah.
That was not with Chico.
That was not with Chico.
That was a different shop. Yeah.
I'm not going to say who it was.
Right. But that was a different
You know
shop.
who you are.
Right.
How you doing?
So that was your experience outside of Chico's shop before.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Okay.
definitely like, I also babysat their kid in the shop.
Definitely not mine.
Not yours. And yeah, like I had to learn to tattoo and then do a bunch of other responsibilities that, like, you know, I expected to already be doing because I've heard the horror stories of some apprenticeships where you spend 2 years before you don't even touch a machine. So the fact that I was touching a machine a month, 2 months in on like fake skin and people was like, oh my God, like, okay, maybe this isn't what I thought. And then, you know, things happen.
So the experience that you had of becoming the person cleaning, do you feel that was a bit gender biased, or was it like,
no, it was 100%.
It was. Okay. In that particular dynamic, in that particular studio, you were pretty clear to you. It wasn't that you were an apprentice. It was that you were the female apprentice.
Yeah.
So, right. So they correlated that in their mind to cleaning lady. Right. And therefore that's where you started out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
gotcha.
the whole time I'm like, okay, like things could be worse.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I kind of like, okay, well, I could be, you know, running bullshit errands or doing things that like I wouldn't ever want to do.
Right.
Which I could never imagine someone going through the horrors that I've heard.
Sure.
But like,
well, it's great that you heard and then didn't experience that.
Yeah.
So that's great.
That was definitely the motivation of like, well, okay, you're stuck as a cleaning lady. You're still learning. Just push through.
Yeah. And cleaning the studio, of course, is always a major necessity. Yet I follow what you're saying. They were like, oh, this is the cleaning lady. And boom, that kind of happened.
As for the guys never really did any like harassing of that sort. They definitely have like their jokes here and there, the normal like hazing, like, oh, I'm not going to call you by your name. I'm going to call you a nickname here and there until like eventually, like, you know, if you don't give into it, if you don't feed into I'm going to like push your buttons until you break and I get a reaction, they'll eventually stop. But other people don't have that kind of aspects, mainly like clients, because that was definitely the more heavy part of my apprenticeship was just clients who didn't know their boundaries. And unfortunately, the guys that I worked with didn't really do anything about setting those boundaries for me or helping me set them.
Well, hence why you left and went to Chico's.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Every single guy that I've worked with at Chico's is actually very much like protect the girls.
It's great. That's great, right? And help set those boundaries. So, Allie, you learned at Chico's, right? So, a little bit less of all that. When you first started to have clients, all right? I mean, it sounds like everyone has to kind of manage that boundaries for clients. What were some of the first kind of things you started to, I guess, use or integrate into creating that space for you to be artistic, but yet unencumbered by that, by anything intrusive?
Well, at first, when I was bringing in people and stuff like that, I wanted to bring in as many people as I can and just practice as much as I can and use it to my advantage. Unfortunately, I was around the generation where all the SoundCloud rapper dudes, so they all wanted tattoos and stuff like that. And I had a lot of them where they just wanted to go on a date or they wanted to be crossing those boundaries and stuff like that. I kind of just tattooed them, put my foot down, and I didn't let anything slide. I still deal with clients that are kind of a little sketchy, but I usually know how to like avoid it, and I'm pretty good with having that like boundary put. Like, you're not gonna do this to me. You can leave right now if you are gonna do any of that shit.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, you can.
But honestly, it was just your skin. I wanted it at the apprenticeship time. It didn't care to me. I tattooed my exes at the time. I didn't care. I always had people around the shop who were willing to help me out if I ever had someone that was like not listening to my boundaries or crossing that line. And honestly, just over time, as I started raising my prices and getting good and stuff like that, I was able to weed out a lot of those problematic clients and stuff like that. But every now and then I still run into some of that, but I know how to approach it now.
Well, and that was one of the questions I was going to have is what over time have you developed to kind of weed those people out, or are there kind of checks and balances, stopgaps that either of you have in your process of new clients? Like people find you on Instagram or they get referred to you.
In the DM sense, because DMs kind of leave the door open. You can't really be a private account tattoo artist. You have to have your DMs open, your phone number kind of out in the public so people can talk to you. Any text or DM that I get that I deem inappropriate or becomes inappropriate, I quickly put a stop to it. I'm like, cool, that is uncomfortable to me. This is business line only, and I'm going to state that to you right now. So anything you say after this point that is not business related will not be met with any sort of interaction. And usually they'll try and they'll just be met with like silence, or I block them straight up. Physical people, it's a little harder just because like they're in front of you. And it can be scary because you don't know sometimes what someone is capable of. If you tell them no, if you tell them like you can rightly fuck off. Which like I have had to like put my foot down with some people, because some people, you know, they don't think that they can actually get away with it until like, you know, you tell them like, no, you can leave. I don't have to tattoo you.
Right.
Nothing says that when you walk in that door, I have to give you any sort of service if you're not willing to cooperate with the rules, the shop, anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Chico, how have you seen the clientele evolve or this universe evolve over the last couple decades? What do you think?
I've had
are we
girls,
trending?
Part of my crew. I started in 2003 legitimately, and I had girls since 2006. At first, I wasn't sure if I wanted a girl working for us, because I guess my tattoo shop was sketchy at best.
Okay.
We had a lot of gang members come in for tattoos and stuff like that. And I don't know if that was the right environment for them. But the girl I hired was probably more gangster than the gangsters in the neighborhood. I'm not gonna say who it was, because you know, Tattoo Baby might get mad at me. But she was a G, and I had no problems. Like, and she opened the door for every other girl to come in because she was all business and didn't play around. I did have girls that, unfortunately, they were no better than the guys who were promiscuous, and they had short careers. But all in all, I think that women are like a blessing to the tattoo industry. They brought in a whole other view of looking at things. My tattoo shops look a lot better.
Sure.
Their eye for decor is much better than mine. But just in essence, you have an overall understanding of more things. I think the art actually comes complete when both genders are involved. It's just a different perspective that males don't have, that women have. And if you're willing to listen to it, you can broaden your horizons.
Yeah. And so your decor improved, right? The overall feel of the shop.
Some might even say that my apparel improved too, because they were like, that doesn't look good. You should go home and change.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? Between them and my wife,
it's cool.
It changed. Yeah.
It's cool. Yeah. We've always had the benefit of having such an eclectic group of people. And then, you know, friends that are tattoo artists, I've been in shops that are very just one a particular way. And I find that with many different kinds of people from different walks of life, it's warmer, you know, whether it's how they present gender wise or their path in life, of where their families are from, their origin are from. It's just, I've always found it to be just, you know, just warmer. It's like a warmer shop.
It's why Chico looks younger.
Right?
That's why Chico looks younger?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's funny because when I started in the tattoo industry, I'm going to say late 1990s, and I came to Miami in 2000, the shops were very one genre. The shops were traditional. When I opened up, it was different because I had the guys that nobody wanted to hire because they weren't traditional. So I had dudes who were doing new school. I had dudes who were doing tribals. I had dudes who were doing oriental and so on and so forth, black and gray, realistic, you know. And we built our customer base based on the other shops that said, oh, they don't only do traditional there.
Right.
And then I kept hearing, yo, I want my girl to get tattooed, but she wants to get my name and I wanted somewhere private, and you only got dudes.
Sure.
You don't got a girl tattoo artist. And then it was like, yo, my girl wants her nipples pierced. You don't got a girl piercer.
Sure.
And there was a demand, a big demand. When I started hiring girls, I'm going to say that's when my clientele base, I might have grown 20 to 30% bigger.
Understandable.
So they've been nothing but adding on to the success of the M4L legacy. So
it's awesome. And do both of you get requests like that, or know that somebody specifically came to you because they're like, I want a female?
I've had many clients request it and tell me how much more comfortable they felt because they've had past experience when unfortunately they've been mistreated by a previous artist they had. And seeing how happy they are and getting to do new work on them or even cover up some old tattoos that remind them of a bad experience has been beautiful. It's honestly been great to see that someone can put that much trust into someone else and fall in love with it again and feel that confidence again, because you don't have to worry about the potentials that could maybe happen. I'm not saying that every artist is like that, but unfortunately that has happened. And I've had clients tell me that. And,
specifically.
Yeah.
Moody, same kind of thing?
Yeah, I've had people like get graded by a male artist and completely shove them out of the way because they made eye contact with me. Like, you're a girl. Do my daughter's tattoo. I don't feel comfortable with a guy doing it. And as myself, having gotten tattooed by a guy like in a private area, it is uncomfortable because like you're a guy. Like the girls on the travel team, like we're all very comfortable with each other because we're girls. We know each other well. We know like the struggles that we go through, and guys don't. And like it's even like they don't see the viewpoint either. Like, so a lot of clients have that same viewpoint where like, okay, like I can trust another female. I feel more comfortable with another female than I do with a male artist.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's all about taking care of clients and connecting with clients, right? And making them happy and everyone in the shop happy. I will also say, from the perspective of shop owners, right? I've had some women that have been the most devious, messed up, just like, what are you doing? You know, and could have gotten us in more trouble than in some occasions than a man had ever potentially get us in trouble, or at least in the same thing, especially in one state, California. Stay out of it. It's just like, whoo, things is so, I want to make sure we talk about all this, and I want people to really, from this, hopefully develop their sensitivity to what it is, to be a female tattoo artist, all the pros and all the things that you're concerned about. And at the same time, definitely have had some women who've been tripping in the past. And, and that's just the other side of it, right? Is that in all ways, I would say nothing should be gender specific in a way that's totalizing.
I've had women try to pull some shit with me too. It's not just men. Honestly, people in general. They're always going to try to pull something.
There's always a good and bad to each one. Yeah. Like I've known females who they act one way to you or to their clients, and behind closed doors, it's a whole different person.
No, stop. Get out of here, Well, so future of for both of you, right? I mean, so you're both in the first decade, right? I hear it gets easier after 3 decades. What stylistically, where do you think you want to go and progress to going forward as an artist?
I definitely found the calling. I found it as an apprentice, the like nerdy new school anime like vibe. I always grew up like drawing from pictures, drawing realistically in all art school aspects. And that got introduced. And I'm like, I don't have to copy a picture anymore. I can actually just draw and create something. And I want to keep that. I just want to keep doing like custom works. I do a lot of Pokemon right now, which I'm sure he loves. He's like charting down like,
he's got a million kajillion Pokemon points, They sending you merchandise or anything if you win anything?
I wish, but if they wanted to sponsor me, you can reach me at Chico M4L or M4L_Chico. Yeah. Pokemon great.
Awesome.
But definitely like I want to gear more towards like video games and like old timey video games. And like push more of that, because anime is the big thing right now, but like video games don't get a lot of love. And I'd have video games in my flashbook and people come back and they're like, dude, I haven't seen this in forever. Like, you've unlocked a childhood memory. I want this on my body. And like, that's just a great feeling when someone's like, you connect with them on that level too. Because I'm a nerd. I'm a huge nerd.
Most tattoo artists that I've ever met are, for sure.
100%. Like, I wasn't openly nerdy. And then I met tattoo artists, and I'm like, you guys are just as big as nerds as I am. And that's beautiful.
Is nerd the proper?
It is.
I thought it was dweeb.
No.
Dweeb is a little bit more offensive.
Dweeb is the mean
How is
word.
it offensive? For real? It's offensive?
Yeah.
But this whole time they've been telling me, oh, just call him a dweeb.
Well, because
Weeb, not
Weeb
dweeb.
is an anime nerd. A nerd is just a nerd in
Hold on,
general.
teach me.
A weeb or weeboo is an anime-related nerd. And it's usually like a guy or girl who's just
Oh, weeb.
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 Not a dweeb.
Not a
Dweeb
dweeb.
is like
Dweeb is
dweeb.
like
No wonder that guy gave me a dirty look.
Yeah.
He knew so much about anime. I go, what a dweeb. And I get it. Sorry if you're watching.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
but yeah, nerd is usually
Weeb.
nerd is
It's
not
still
a
a
bad
positive
term.
thing. Of course,
Yeah.
nerds rule the world, basically. They
Like,
run it, you know? They
Growing
took
up,
over.
you got called a nerd, and it's like, oh man, they called me a nerd.
Right.
Damn. But now it's like, yeah, I'm a nerd.
Don't call me a dweeb though.
No, don't call me a
Don't
dweeb.
call me a dweeb.
No,
A
weeb.
weeb.
I got
No.
it.
Maybe a weeb.
I don't know.
If that's authentic, if that's true. But,
So where does that leave geeks?
Geeks are tech savvy.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Geek Squad fixed
I'm
that.
not the
for
right.
them.
I'm not
I feel like
the
no
right
one uses
style.
geek though.
No,
No.
No.
We should do a whole thing on Z and Alpha generation
Oh, God.
slang, right? And then see what goes out of style by the time we publish the podcast.
Oh, it's
you
gonna
know?
be everyone's gonna be like,
They'll be like, that's over.
Ew,
My
that's
gosh,
so
that was
cringe.
over. Yeah.
So
So
yesterday.
gross
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you got called out in 4K, right? So, Allie, for you, stylistically, where do you think you want to progress to? What's kind of calling to you moving forward?
So I feel like I'm still figuring out all the nooks and crannies of stuff. I definitely want to still maintain like that traditional background. I love it. It's just what I always drawn to, like how I draw now. I definitely want to find that niche that is cutesy and gore.
Yeah.
I love it. I love Halloween. I love all the spooky dooky things. And I also love cute things, and combining it both, I feel like it's always naturally how I've drawn, and bringing it to kind of like a traditional aspect has been super fun. And I love getting the reaction out of people. And a lot of people have told me this is exactly what I wanted. I never even know that I could find something like this. And knowing that I could find that niche a little bit already has been really cool, very interesting. And I love doing my little bloody Hello Kitties and random little gory things like that.
Yeah.
It's
fun. And there's a Halloween summer. There's a summer Halloween.
Summerween.
Summerween. Right now, there's a summer. You know about this?
No.
It's kind of newish. Yeah,
So
there's a
it's Halloween
thing.
every day to me.
As soon as the 4th of July ends, Halloween.
Since the day I was born, it's been Halloween every day.
Okay, so it's Summerween. Yeah, exactly. Well, it's good. Listen, it's good for trending tattoo ideas for clients, right? That they can come get their gore and their horror in August.
People love getting Halloween tattoos. How many people do you see getting Christmas tattoos? Not very often.
You're
But
right.
Halloween, come on.
We've
like,
tried a Christmas flash day.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
No
yeah.
one wants Santa Claus in them.
Right. Interesting.
So much for fat bearded people.
Yeah.
White bearded people.
That was already covered. Yeah, exactly. Now it's Summerween time, for the tweens and the
Just
dweebs
sounds like
and the
I'm
weebs.
making hot dogs in the summer. Summerween.
Yeah. So cool. So thank you for joining us. And where can people follow you?
Madam.Moony.
Okay, that's Instagram, Madam.Moony. That's where they can find you. Yeah. Chico.
Chico M4L or M4 _ Chico. Did I say that right? M4L _ Chico. I think I said that right.
And Bloody Alley.
Okay, awesome. Thank you everyone for joining us. Really, really appreciate it. Happy tattooing.
Remember, if you like what we do, follow, share, and subscribe.
And if you really like what we're doing, please give us a 5-star review. It really helps.